No, it's great. Although we haven't had much of a spring. It's been a little bit cool.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, I guess it's time to get started. Hello, everybody. I'm not seeing who's all here at the moment, so welcome. I want to welcome our speakers, presenters today, Sentinel Consulting, and they're going to take over and run the show here. But just want to remind everybody at the end of this session, please fill out the survey, and I'll be sure to get that out within the last 5 minutes of our session today. So, all right, take it over, Lucy.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for joining. Today is going to be a really hands-on skills lab, and hopefully you have two screens and you can join along. And we hope that everyone finds this helpful and that you're all excited after boogieing it out to that great intro music. So today we're just going to do we're going to do some quick introductions. We want you folks to share and chat and keep the chat going because that's the way we can all share and learn. We're going to just do some brief introductions and then we'll start with the demo. So let's start off by you folks. So 3 sort of really quick poll questions. If you had a superpower, what would your superpower be? What type of organization are you from? And is your organization currently using Power Automate? So hopefully you folks can feel free to put stuff in the chat. I know if I had a superpower, I've always wanted to have the power of flight. I would love to be able to fly high in the sky and be able to see everything down low. So I've had the opportunity to work in the higher ed space and in the K-12 space, so really know that area really, really well. And hopefully your organization is using Power Automate. A little bit about ourselves. We are a consulting firm that focuses strictly on the operational side of consulting. So really down all about operations. I'm a big believer that operational excellence is what helps organizations sort of is part of the overall, one of the big pieces of the jigsaw puzzle for operational excellence to meet your mission and vision. We do this through the lens of people, process, and technology, people first. And I love some of these answers coming through. Superpower, social services space. Oh, I love it. Your need for speed. Josie, you are my kind of person. I would like to be Speedy Gonzalez and be able to fly high. So our approach at Sentinel Consulting is very much about meeting our clients where they're at. So transformation does not happen all at once. And we like to tailor that journey for you. The processes and the techniques are generally similar for a lot of our clients, but it's our approach that makes the difference. And I'm a big believer in sort of what we call moving the ball forward. So just a little bit at a time, keep doing it. Some people call it the 1% theory. Some people call it, starting the journey, but we call it move the ball forward. In today's session, I'm just doing a lot of the intro stuff. All the heavy lifting will be handled by my colleague, Amir. But I will let Amir introduce himself.
Thanks, Lucy. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining this session. My name is Amir, and I'm a data analyst at Sentinel Consulting. I have spent over 15 years working with data, and my focus is on building smart, scalable solutions using tools like Power Automate, Power BI, Python. And at Sentinel, I help nonprofit organizations build efficient workflows and dashboards that support fundraising efforts. And before Sentinel, I was at Samsung building data warehouses, reporting pipelines, and BI solutions. I'm excited to be part of BB Dev Days this year, and today I will walk you through a hands-on example where we will develop a Power Automate to actually automate a daily digest email step by step. So whether you have never worked with Power Automate before, or you are already building your own workflows, I will share some tips, real world examples, and some tips and tricks that you can just start using right away.
Great. Thanks, Amir. And we love having Amir on our team because it basically, if we run into a snag, we can always go, Amir, help. And I know we do that quite a bit on our team. So this is one of my favorite expressions because I love Walt Disney, but the best way to get started is to go talking about it and start doing. So I'm going to turn it over to Amir so that we can start working on this daily gift log and learn a little bit about how we do it at Sentinel and go from there.
Thanks, Lucy. Okay. Let me start by showing you where we are heading to. What you see on this slide is an actual example of the final output, which is a daily summary email that lists all gifts added to Razor's Edge yesterday. So this email shows key information like the donor's name, constituent ID, phone, email, gift amount, and constituent name. Both of them have hyperlinks attached to the values inside the table. So if you click on those values, you will be redirected to Razor's Edge NXT. And from there, you can see the details of the gift and the constituent. And the point is that you won't need to write a single line of code because Power Automate is a low-code environment. I will walk you through each step to help you understand how this comes together. As I said, even if you have never used Power Automate before, you can very quickly grasp the whole idea and you can start developing your own workflows. By the end of this session, you will not only understand how this workflow works, you will be able to also build your own version, customize it, and expand it for other use cases. But let's take a look at the flow architecture very quickly. This is a quick overview of how this entire workflow is structured. So think of it as our blueprint. It's a very simple three-step process that is easy to follow, and you can definitely replicate in other scenarios. Because when you start developing Power Automate, it's actually the end-to-end workflow and the architecture is almost the same. Let's start with the step one. Step one is pull. This is where the workflow starts. We set a scheduled trigger. So this flow will run automatically every day at 8 a.m. It uses the Razor's Edge NXT connector, which is a certified connector inside Power Automate, to pull a list of gifts added yesterday and to control and narrow down the data we are getting from RENXT. We are using added on or after filter or parameter to make sure we only get the fresh data, not everything inside the database. So it is the best practice for calling API. You pass the parameters and you get the information you are looking for, not everything. So this is the first step. The next step is prepare. This is where the transformation happens. We take the raw data and shape it into a clean HTML table. We prepare the full email content as well, like the email body and the other information. And we design the message and what information we are going to include in that HTML table. For example, you want to see only constituent ID, constituent name, and gift amount, or you want to include email and phone as well. So you can add them inside the Power Automate flow. And what is the next step? The last step is deliver. At this point, the flow checks whether any gifts were actually found. If yes, we send a formatted gift summary, which includes a table, including all information of the gifts and constituents. But if there's no gift from yesterday, we send a different email, which is like just a message to the team to let them know there is no activity, no new gift from yesterday. So these three parts, pull, prepare, and deliver, make up the full architecture of this Power Automate flow. And as I said, this is almost the same for all Power Automate projects. And before we start building anything inside Power Automate, let's take a moment to understand what Power Automate is actually doing behind the scene. This slide breaks the Power Automate down into four key components. First, we have a trigger. This is what starts your flow. It could be a scheduled time, a form submission, a new row in Excel, whatever, a new chat coming in Microsoft Teams. You have this capability inside Power Automate to trigger your workflow, okay? In our case today, it is a recurrence trigger that runs every day at 8 a.m. So automatically, every morning, this workflow will be triggered and actually handle the actions you have developed and designed. Once triggered, the flow moves into actions. So these are the steps that do the work, the actual work, like whatever, retrieving data, formatting content, applying any logic, and so on. So you will see the actions like loops, conditions, variable, compose, anything. We'll take a look at it, at these different types of actions inside Power Automate. So you design your workflow, you add the actions in a sequence, and they are like your building bricks that work together. Then we have the connectors, and this is a big reason Power Automate is so powerful. Connectors allow us to plug directly into external systems like Razor's Edge NXT, like Outlook, SharePoint, Excel, Microsoft Teams, different applications, without needing to write a single code or handle authentication manually. Because when it comes to integration, or when it comes to communicating with different applications, it can be really frustrating because you need to handle very, very technical parts yourself, like authentication, like API paginations. So these kind of things you don't need to be worried about because Power Automate is smart enough to handle these technical aspects behind the scene. And finally, we reach the outcome. This is the result your users will see, like an email being sent, a record being updated, a message being posted on Teams, whatever you want. So these are the different parts of Power Automate that you can use to develop your workflow. And the beauty of it is that no server is needed to manage. And it has a simple drag and drop functionality. And also it has a built-in audit history that shows exactly what happened at each step. So when you run your flow, you can go back to the run history, click on any history you want, and take a look at the actual data and the results for each step. You can click on each step and take a look at the raw data, how it looks like. Is there any error? If the workflow throws an error, you can go and see what is the problem. In which step we have the error and how we can solve the problem. So whether you are building a quick automation or something more advanced, this structure stays consistent. You use triggers, you use actions, different types of actions, and also you connect to different applications to have the results you are looking for. So it was actually at a glance Power BI and the flow structure, and we can just start developing our workflow, as I explained, which is a workflow to send an automatic email on daily basis, which includes list of gifts added yesterday, including constituent information, constituent name, donor ID, and the other kind of information. Okay, let me share my screen. Any questions? Please feel free to ask your questions. I'll try to answer them. Okay,
Nothing in the QA so far, Amir. I'll let you know.
Okay. How can I share my screen?
There should be an option on the left, Amir, on the toolbar that says share.
I don't have the screen share a screen
Maureen, do you
option.
know
I
if
don't know why.
Amir can share his screen?
The word screen should be on the left side underneath the videos. It's right there.
It is grayed out.
Grayed out.
So when you logged in, did you go in and say that you wanted to share your screen? Because it would have required you to test that before you got in?
Yes, I did.
Oh, then it's supposed to not be grayed out. I'm not sure why it's not. That's not good. Just 1 second.
While we're getting this sorted out, is anyone currently planning to work through the process with Amir as he goes through it? Okay, great. Oh, lots of people going to try. Wonderful. Sorry about this, folks. Okay, can we, let's see. Also grayed out, so I can't even share that screen.
The only thing I can think of, Amir, is that if you leave and come back and choose that and make sure the select the screen option is available, because that's like set up right at the beginning when you first log in. And if you're not, if for some reason that didn't get connected, I don't know how else you would connect that.
That's a good idea. Okay.
Oh, I see screen now. Screen is not hidden for me anymore. So maybe you had to stop sharing your PowerPoint. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Amir, your audio isn't on. I don't know what's going on here. Oh. Hang on. Hey, Eric.
Hey, Eric. Now Amir's audio is not working. Sorry, we're having some technical issues.
Hey, Amir. I don't know.
Yes. Do you hear me right now?
There you go.
Oh, we hear you. There you go. Can you share your screen now?
Yeah, sorry for the delay.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
We
Eric.
needed Eric and his superpower to make everything work.
Yeah, just his
That's
presence.
our superpower.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Eric.
All right. So now let's step into Power Automate and walk through the first part of the actual flow we are building. here is the beginning of our daily gift digest automation. I'll walk you through each action, explain what it does, and also highlight some key Power Automate concepts that are really fundamental to understand and to be able to just develop your own Power Automate. Step one is actually our trigger. This is what kicks off the flow. We are using a recurrence trigger, but you can change it to anything you want. For example, an event. When a new file sits on SharePoint, start and do all actions you want. So this flow runs automatically every day at 8 a.m. And if you click on this action, you can see these settings and parameters. You can change them. For example, you can change your time zone. You can change the frequency from every day to every week or every hour. And you can think of a trigger as the event that says, hey, Power Automate, it's time to start working. So this is a scheduled trigger, no user action needed, no button press, just quietly working in the background every day, actually every morning at 8 a.m. What is the second step? This is our second step, which is setting up a variable to store message content. Now let's talk about variables because it's a very fundamental concept in Power Automate. One of the most important concepts. A variable is like a temporary storage box for your flow. We use it to hold data that we will either build up over time or reuse it later. For example, you are getting a list of gifts added yesterday, let's say 10 gifts. But we are going to get constituent information as well, because Blackbaud gift endpoint doesn't provide you with constituent names. So you probably need to call another Sky endpoint, which is constituent, to get information of constituents for each specific gift. So we have a loop, and inside each loop, we are getting the constituent information. After getting all of this information, we are going to append the information, those information to the variable that we have initialized at the beginning of the workflow. Okay. So in this case, I'm initializing an array variable that holds the gift information. It's empty at the beginning, but we will later turn it into a table. So we are not setting any value at this time. As you can see, it's empty, but we are just initializing this to be used in the loop, actually inside the loops that we are getting the gift information.
Hey, Amir, I'm going to stop you because there's a couple of questions here.
Yeah.
Let's see. It is a cloud scheduled flow, Audrey. Anne asked,
Yes.
Is this a Power Automation created from a BB template? I don't
know. It is.
No, it's not from a BB template, but you can also do it from a template because I know there is one out there in the resources section. I can't find variable. Amir, would you mind showing Audrey where variable might be? Just in
why
case?
not?
Yeah. And the action is called initialize variable, and they set up a type in array. Okay.
Okay. If you want to initialize a variable, you just need to click on this plus button and search for variables. Just type variables, and you can see a couple of options. You can initialize your variable, the one that we did at the beginning of our workflow. You can set your variable. This one works when you already have initialized a variable. Then you set it with a value. For example, inside a loop, you get a number, you get a data, and you set your empty variable to this specific number. Okay? You can decrement your variable, you can increment it, and you can append information. This is what we are looking for inside the loop. We are using this step or this action inside our gift loops. But first we need to initialize the variable. So you can just easily select this one, name it whatever you want, like test, whatever, and change the type. Is it Boolean, integer, float, string, whatever. But if you're going to have a variable to append your information to it, you always need to select array. It's like, think of it as a list of items. You initialize an empty list, then you fill it with your information, whatever you want, inside your loops. So let me delete this one. So always you can just click on this plus sign and add your actions. And best practice, always initialize variables near the top of your flow. It keeps things organized and avoid runtime errors. Okay, let's go to the next action. What is the next action? Step 3. It's a compose action. What is compose? Compose actually is great for static or single use values. It is like writing down something, okay? You are just going to use it once, somewhere. It is a static. You're not going to update it. You're not going to change it. You just want to have it somewhere. So compose actually calculates yesterday date in exact format that Razor's Edge NXT wants for filtering GIF records. So you cannot pass any date time format to the Sky API because it only expects some static or some different type of date format, which is ISO 8601. So you need to change it. So this is where we compose an action. But let's pause here to explain something very important. When you click on each of these actions inside Power Automate, you can see that for almost every action, whether it is sending an email, creating a table, calling a Sky API, whatever, you will see fields where you can just provide some input, like this one, or like this compose or Sky API. There are some couple of fields that if you click on them, you can see these two options, two ways to fill the input. When you click on this input field, Power Automate provides or gives you two ways to provide the values. One of them is dynamic content. The other one is expression. This Thunderbolt is dynamic content. The other one, this function one, is expression. But what is dynamic content? These are pre-calculated values from earlier steps in your flow. So Power Automate detects them automatically and shows them in a drop-down panel. For example, right here, we have a dated on or after parameter or field inside this Blackbaud connector or action. If you click on it, you can select values from previous steps. So the previous step is compose yesterday's date, and you can just grab the output of the previous step. That's why we call it dynamic content. They are best for inserting values like donor name, gift amount, referencing something simple like the body of an email, reusing data already returned by another action in previous steps. So the names you see here depend on what is available from previous steps. But what is expression? Expressions are like formulas or functions. You use them when you want to manipulate data, like format a date, do a math, check if something is empty, or build a string dynamically, whatever. These are typed manually in the formula box, like here, this white space. So they are best for data calculations, conditional logics. For example, it returns you with true or false, string functions, string manipulations, handling nulls, and the other kind of things. And a very important explanation. when you start developing your Power Automate flows, you might be frustrated because the dynamic content you want isn't showing always. If that is the case, switch to the expression mode, and you can almost always find a workaround there. For example, you have a nested loop, you click on this field, and you cannot find some values from the outer scope. You can use this function bar to reference to those values. So I just wanted to explain this very, very fundamental and important concept inside Power Automate, because when you click on each of these fields, you can see these two options. Okay.
Hey, Amir, there's a couple more questions out there.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see what we've got.
Can you show us your concat in the compose step? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Okay. Yep. This is the compose action that creates a date format which is suitable and acceptable from Blackbaud. If you take a look, if you click on this action, which is Blackbaud Sky API, and let me remove this one. And if you add an advanced parameter to your API, for example, you want to get the list of gifts from a specific constituent ID, or we have added dates on or after. Take a look at this date time format. It is ISO 8601 format, so you cannot pass any format to this parameter. It doesn't accept, and it throws an error. It should be year dash month dash day, t, hour, minute, second, and z at the end of the string. So we don't have it. It is not accessible. This is not something you will find in the dynamic content. So you would use an expression like this one. Here, we are getting date time of UTC now, current date time, and we're subtracting 1 day from this current date time, which is yesterday, and then we're changing the format of this date time to year dash month dash day. So we're using 3 functions right here. But then we need to add this time zone format, which is hour, minute, and second, to this year, month, day. So we are using the concat to append this part of the string to the previous one. Now we have a proper format to pass it to the API parameter, which is the next step. So if you click on this action, you can just very quickly click on added on or after and select your dynamic content and select the output of previous step, which is compose yesterday's date. That's it. Any other questions?
There's one from Dan. Is there a benefit to the concat expression for the date versus using the get past time action from Power Automate?
Instead of get path, let me find it. I have never used that one. I cannot find that message, Lucy.
Yeah, it's like the fourth or fifth question up.
Okay.
It's from Dan Snyder.
Which is using the get past time action from the power. Oh, no, it's the same. It's just your choice, whatever you want. You can just, but the important thing is that it should be in the same format. You can do it whatever you want. That's fine. And the next question.
I think they were the rest were concat questions.
Okay. Is this flow going to be available? Yeah, we can just put a zip file. Lucy, can we just put the zip file as...
So in the documents, there is a QR code that you can download the file, because unfortunately in Goldcast, it won't allow us to upload a zip file of that size. I don't know if it's a size or the zip file, but at any rate, you can download it, use the QR code, and it'll take you right where you can download it off our website.
Okay. And is there any other question?
Setup question. Power Automate. When do I try to use the NXT connector? It says I'm not authorized and to contact my administrator, but it doesn't know what to do. My foundation usually only uses database 7. So Lydia, are you on NXT? Because if you're not on NXT, you cannot use Power Automate in this way. So happy to answer that question a little bit offline, and you feel free to reach out to us, or you can add more in the Q&A, but yeah, that may be part of the issue, because when it says my foundation only uses database 7. So feel free to add more to that.
RENXT, and also you need to add Power Platform inside your Razor's Edge marketplace, so you would be able to just communicate within Power Automate with actually Razor's Edge NXT. So that is one of the important things. Go to marketplace, look at search for Power Platform or Power Automate. I don't know. I think it is Microsoft Power Platform, and just download it and make it enabled inside your environment. So that's it. Okay. Let's go to the next step. What is the next step? The next step is pulling the list of gifts added yesterday from RENXT. This is the connector that I explained in the presentation deck. There are tons of connectors and APIs that you can use inside your workflow. How you use them? Click on this plus sign and just search for Blackbaud. And you can see different endpoints and different APIs. You can use them. The one that we used right here was list of gifts. Let me find it.
While Amir's searching for that, I'm going to just step in, just because I think I saw a question in somewhere in the process, was that we are using the date added, not the gift date, because if you're adding gifts, if you're backdating them for whatever reason, or you're coming in January and entering some gifts, you don't want to miss out on any gifts that did not appear on there. That way it's the date that it was added, regardless if it was the gift date on that gift may have been 6 months ago. I think I saw it somewhere, but keep asking those questions, put them in the Q&A, and we will do our best to answer as many of them as possible.
Yeah. Thanks, Lucy. Yeah, this is the endpoint we are using inside our Power Automate workflow, list of gifts, because we are going to get the list of gifts added yesterday. But be careful, we are not getting a gift. This one is different endpoints. Get a gift is a different endpoint to get information of a specific gift. So it's mandatory to pass gift ID to this endpoint. This is what we are not looking for. We are looking for list of gifts added yesterday. So you use this one. If you click on it, you can see exactly like this one. I don't know why it's just trying to connect. I have no idea. Okay, by the way. Okay. Yeah, it's the same. If you click on the advanced parameters, you can see a lot of options. You can get list of constituents. You can get a list of gifts for specific constituents, campaigns, dates added, and the other kind of things. So a connector is like a built-in translator. It knows how to talk to a specific application. In this case, we are using RENXT. So you don't need to write any code or deal with API authentication manually. We just click on this step and get the list of information we are looking for. Right here, I have just put this limit to 5 because it might be a lot of information, a lot of gifts that we are not going to actually process, but you don't need this one. You can just get rid of it. We have only one parameter, which is added on or after, and we have filled this parameter with the output of the previous step, which is compose yesterday's date. So let's wrap it up, the first part of the workflow, these 4 steps. You have already seen a trigger, which starts your workflow automatically every morning. A variable we initialize to hold data. It is empty right now, but we will fill it with a value. A compose, which is an action used for formatting, calculation, and the other kind of things, static. And we have a connector to retrieving external data, retrieving information out of RENXT. And also we just explained the difference between dynamic content and expressions, when to use them and how to use them. So these are the building blocks you will reuse in almost every Power Automate workflow. Let's go to the next step. What is the next step? Now that we have pulled the list of gifts, it's time to shape and prepare our email content. But we don't want to send an email if no gifts were added. We are just going to send a very quick note to the team that we didn't have any gift added, no activity yesterday. So now this is the time where we need to use control actions in Power Automate. What is control action? This is the condition. If you click on this one, this condition is like a gate. It checks whether any gift were returned from the API. If there's no gift, it goes to the false path. It just sends a quick note to your team that there's no gift. But if count of gifts is greater than 0, it goes to the true path and processes each gift one by one. Okay? So we have one condition. We call them inside Power Automate control. If you click on control, you can see a couple of options. We have conditions, apply to each. This one is a loop that we are going to use. Do until the scope, terminate, switch, and the other things. The scope is to just you define some part of your workflow inside a scope, and you can control that scope. Even if it throws an error, it doesn't just break the workflow entirely. You can define what to do in case there's an error. And do until is for pagination. For example, you have a lot of information, like 100,000 rows of data. There's a limitation for API calls, which is maximum 5,000 rows of information. So if you want to get all information, you need to handle them inside a do until loop. So it gets 5,000, then goes to the next 5,000. So you need to set limit and also offset inside your API parameter, which is advanced. I don't think you use them right now because you don't need it. But if you have a lot of information, you want to get them out of RE, you have to use do until control actions. But here we have a condition that says if there's no gift, just send an email to anybody that you can add any email address like my address and Lucy. And what is the subject? No gifts from yesterday. And you can add another expression right here. You can use expression anywhere inside your input or inside your field. For example, I have added an expression right here, which is yesterday date in a proper format, year, month, day. And I can, again, continue adding some other texts, whatever. And you can add your body and define it, put some text inside your email body if there's no gift. What is the best practice? Always check for empty results before launching any loops. So you call a Sky API. If there is no information, if you don't add any condition like this one that we have applied on top of this loop, your workflow will definitely break and it throws an error. Okay? So if we have any gifts, for each of the gifts, what is the next action? It's a for each gift or apply to each action. Inside the true branch, we have an apply to each loop that runs once per gift. Why? We are getting a list of gifts from RENXT, but we want constituent name, constituent email, and phone address as well. Those are not available inside the gift list of gifts endpoint. So for each of these gifts, we need to call another endpoint, which is get detailed donor. As you can see, if you click on this field, this action, it is mandatory to pass constituent ID as a parameter to this API, and it is accessible. Again, if you click on this dynamic content, you can very easily select the constituent ID from the previous step. What is the previous step? This full list of gifts added to RENXT yesterday. So you can just click on this dynamic content and select the constituent ID. Okay, we are getting the constituent information in this step. What is the next step? One thing I want to explain right here, which is very important. We have a lot of actions and a lot of like data operations that you can use. And you don't need to reinvent the wheel, okay? For example, you notice this step, change amount to currency. Instead of writing a formula like an expression to change the format of your value from something like a number, integer number, to a currency format, we have this action inside Power Automate. You don't need to write any expression. We use a built-in formatting action that handles currency formatting, and you can change the format whatever you want. So it's a great example of a principle in Power Automate. Don't try to create everything yourself. Don't reinvent the wheel. There are tons of actions and you just need to search for them. So before adding any action, first click on this plus sign and search for it. There might be something that you can use instead of writing your own expressions, okay? So we have this step right here that changes the format of amount value, which is gift amount, to a currency format. And what is the next step? The last step inside our loop is appending each gift or each row of information. Think of it as a row of Excel file with different column headers, okay? We are appending this one row or this one gift to the variable we initialized at the top of the workflow. So here we use append action and we define the output and then we append it to the variable, to the empty variable we initialized at the first of the session. You can change it whatever you want. This is actually a hyperlink that I explained. You can add the renxtblackbaud.com endpoint and add the constituent ID and name. So when you click on that name, you will be redirected to RENXT. You can see the constituent page. And you can see any other information. Add a comma, add another column header like whatever. Donor address. And again, click on this dynamic content, search for address, and just select it. That's all. You have this address added to your information. And we go outside of the loop. We are going to create an HTML table. Now we have appended all single gifts and single rows to our variable. Now it's time to develop our HTML table. We have, again, another built-in action to create HTML table. You just need to select this on this plus button, search for HTML table, and you can see this built-in action under data operations. If you click on this data operation, there are a couple of options you can use them. So always search for those actions before creating something yourself. We are creating this HTML table, which is a format of table to put inside your HTML, because email is something like HTML content. When you want to put a table inside your email, it should be in HTML format. Then this step is extra because when you add this action, it usually encodes special characters to something weird like this. So we add a compose action to replace any weird character to HTML characters. And the last step is adding a CSS style to our email content. You can do it, you can just leave it because it's not a big deal. It just makes it defines the font of your table, the color of your table headers, and the other kind of things. It aligns your strings and these kind of things. So this is a CSS style that you can apply to your output. This is again a compose action. And what is the last step? The last step is to sending your email, including the table you have created. Again, define the email address, your subject line, your body, and put your output from the previous step into your email body. And then save your workflow and test it.
Now, before I know that one formula with all the CSS variables looked really, really scary and intimidating. Please note that you would never have to know that on your own. You can copy and paste that from the JSON file that the zip file that we've provided for you. So it'll all be listed in there, so you don't have to recreate the wheel.
Yeah. And okay, we saved our workflow, we tested, as you can see, everything is working smoothly and perfectly. And I've got a new email. Let me share my Outlook. I will share, just a second. Let me share my email. Yeah, okay. Can you see this Outlook? Lucy, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, and this is the output we've got. So the Power Automate created this table, including the donor names, constituent ID, email address, phone, and the gift amount. As you can see, they are hyperlinked, and if you click on these values, you will be redirected to RENXT, and you can see detailed information of this specific constituent and this gift as well. Any questions?
Two questions came up. Someone, I think I saw a little further up that we didn't address the question was, how did you create the hyperlinks to the records? So like why are Dimitri's, please keep in mind, this is all sample data from like the developer's environment. So that's why some of this data is really ugly looking. First and foremost, this isn't real data, but yes, how can we create the link? And then someone else says, how would you add soft credit names to this table?
Oh, soft credit. Okay. Let's start with the first question.
Would that be in the gift endpoint, Amir?
Yeah. Yes, but if you need to have the information like the details, you need to call another API to get the soft credits. I'll take a look. So the first question, how to add a hyperlink to your values inside your table. This is RENXT URL, which is a static for everybody, all clients. So if you follow this structure and this URL, you can add constituent ID and constituent name to this string, which is renxt.blackbaud.com/constituents/constituent ID.
Amir, sorry to interrupt you. You're still showing your email screen, so you're not showing your Power BI. So I think that, I mean, your automate workflow. So I think that would help.
Yeah, you're right. Let me share my Power Automate. Sorry. Yeah, right here. Actually, this is the hyperlink we are using. If you follow this structure, you can develop it inside your environment. It is the same for all clients. Okay, so just follow this template, which starts with this whatever, a string, http://renxt.blackbaud.com/constituents/ and put your constituent ID right here. If you follow this structure, you can have your hyperlink attached to the name of the constituent inside your table. So we have this name and we have this hyperlink attached to this name. So if you click on this name, you will be redirected to the RENXT. And again, for gift amount, it's the same. renxt.blackbaud.com/gifts/gift ID. And it is attached to the formatted number, which is $45. If you click on that $45, you will be redirected to this link. So you can see the details there. About the soft credits, let me see if it is available. So before adding any other API call to your workflow, always take a look at the output of the gift that you are getting out of RE. If you click on it, go to history, click on the history, and click on your output, and you can see the information ResourceEdge NXT is providing you with. You have this kind of information. Is there any soft credits? Let's see, soft credit. Yeah, soft credit is here. So you can add amount value of your soft credit or constituent ID under your soft credit inside your table. But don't forget, you need to add another loop. Why? Because as you can see, soft credit has some information. I mean, each gift can have a couple of soft credits. So for each gift, you need to have another loop to go through each soft credit and get the information like the constituent ID, whatever, amount ID, soft credit ID, and attach it to your table or do any other actions you are looking for. So it is available inside your whole list of gifts out of RE. Any other questions? Where can I find these templates? I think Lucy can figure a way.
Yeah. So if you go to the doc section of Goldcast, there should be a couple of documents in there, including the PowerPoint slide, as well as a PDF document of a QR code, which will direct you to our website, which is sentinelconsulting.ca/resources. So you can get them there. But yeah, a lot of this stuff is in there. One of the things I'd like to say, I know we went through this rather quickly, and if you were trying to follow along, if you are relatively new to this, it can be hard. But think of fields, think of endpoints as the different nodes in query. That kind of helps you figure things out. And keep asking questions. I think that's the only way to do it, is to keep asking questions. The community is great. Eric has a host weekly or a monthly, bi-weekly, Power BI and Power Automate meetup, but keep asking questions monthly. Thank you, Eric. Oh, so I used the QR code and it took me to this one and some other templates. Okay, great, Ed. I'm glad you found them. And please feel free. Just going to go ahead and Amir, can you just go back to the presentation? But feel free to give us a holler and check us out if you need any additional information. We're happy to help out. And thank you so much. We really, really do appreciate your time. I know it's hard, and happy to help out. Thank you, everyone, for your time today.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, looks like it reached the QR limit. Oh, Ramveet, I will do my best to get that to you, or shoot me an email and I'm happy to send it to you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thanks, Maureen, for your help today. It was very,
My pleasure.
it was much appreciated. And thank you, Eric, as well for just being there. You showed up and boom, it worked. So
I know. Just his presence.
Yeah, thanks, Eric.